talking about the upcoming election in November and just the way the different candidates are talking about their policies that are going to address certain key issues. And there's no doubt that owning a home is more expensive and it feels more out of reach for everyday Americans. Tim, you had a chance to dive deeper into subject matter. What were your thoughts from the political statements that are out so far?
Yeah, Alvin, like you said, I mean, affording a home right now has probably never been more challenging for the majority of Americans, which is why it makes a perfect topic for candidates to jump onto and talk about the need for affordable housing initiatives that are going to make homes more accessible for low and moderate income families, of course, through government subsidies and incentives. But when you look at kind of the party line and these candidates kind of approach to affordable housing, I don't think it's necessarily too surprising that you're seeing, the Trump perspective being less focus on federal affordable housing initiatives. He wants market-driven solutions, right? And then the Harris side of it is saying we got to increase that federal support for affordable housing. We have to include these tax incentives for first-time home buyers. We need to give, what's the number right now? We need to give $25,000 to every single first-time home buyer because that's not going to change home prices or anything. But I mean, I think you're seeing a very predictable approach here on how affordable housing, and the fact that housing has gotten for many so unaffordable. I think it's a hot button issue for a lot of people that are paying attention to this election cycle.
Yeah, and so both have different approaches. Obviously, the Republican side of things being more market driven, less
Of course,
attractive. People want quick solutions. Like people love their stimmy checks. Like Trump gets credit for the stimmy checks,
he does.
but he doesn't get credited for the inflation that it caused,
Exactly.
which is the funniest thing in the world. So people want their free stuff, and so the market-driven approach is the correct approach, but it's not fun. It's not exciting. Receiving 25K towards your first home is way more exciting.
Yeah.
But so here's the challenge that people have to wrestle with is when you throw money at something, do you make it cheaper or more expensive? So if I look at, I'm a millennial, and if I look at what's one of the biggest downfalls of our generations, one of the most crippling things that we've had to deal with is student loan debt. And so why is student loan debt so high? Well, because they guarantee that every student can get a loan for any college they want for any amount. So what do the colleges do? They all raise their prices. And
Absolutely.
so the quality of education didn't go up, but yet tuition kept going up. Why? Because they could. You had the money to pay for it. So when you give people more arbitrary money, more opportunities to buy something, right? Now you're automatically increasing the cost of that thing. And so student loans went up because you threw loans at it. Housing's also going to go up because you're throwing money at it. So think about it. An extra 25K now can increase the value of a home by what, 100K? Right? If you're doing right, if you only
It
put in
is.
20,
Yep.
25% down. So every house, you minimum 25K, you're going to increase the value of it. At most, maybe even 100K, because now you have so much more people who are competing against each other to go buy more housing. That's going to make it monumentally more expensive. So that's not at all the right strategy. The intent is correct. The execution, it's going to be pretty dangerous. And guess what? Now you have to do this forever. You can't just do this once. This has to be now a permanent thing because how messed up is that for every other generation? Which generation are you going to tell they're not going to receive the 25K?
Yeah, you can make I think there's a strategic case to review the strategy around affordable housing initiatives with aggressive strategies to increase the housing supply to kind of offset that natural inflation to that. Is it a proven winning strategy? No, but I do think that's what the Harris side is really pushing right now. Is this is a two-pronged attack of affordable housing initiatives, rent control measures, and aggressive increases in the housing supply. But I'm not sold that all three of those can happen in concert like their vision is sort of being
Yeah,
conveyed.
and so here's the other problem is about helping people who can't afford something now be able to afford something. Here's the problem. is that you're not giving them a free house. A free house is just a blessing. Like, you ever watch those commercials around Christmas time when the husband gifts the wife a car,
Yeah, with
and
a
you're
big
like, wait,
bow. Yeah.
but now you're like, well, now there's a monthly payment. It's not like it's a free car. It's
Right.
like, no, there's a monthly payment that goes with it.
That
So
was
if you
also a
look
great
at,
SNL skit. If you ever get, there's an SNL skit that makes fun of that.
oh, no, I haven't seen it, about the loan payment afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's
Yep.
paying that loan? So it's the same thing where you think about, like, okay, here's a bunch of money towards a car. It's almost like, remember back in 2006 we had stated income loans. You can just state how much you made. We had zero money down loans. That would be the best way to make everybody afford something. Just give them a zero down mortgage on a home. But guess what? What if that person can't afford it? There is something to saving for what you're going to eventually buy. If you cut out that savings part, that means I didn't adjust my numbers, I didn't budget for things, I didn't like prep for this purchase. It's like someone who give them the lottery. Like, that person didn't gain that muscle memory. So I would focus a lot more on teaching those principles in high school and in college, and having a generation grow up with financial literacy, than just throwing money at it. That's the wrong solution. It should be much more financial literacy, budgeting, learning how to start a business, learning about credit scores, learning about how to properly invest your funds, knowing about the right time to make a purchase, how to save for a purchase. Those are the critical skills our generation needs, not free money.
Yeah, and the reality is too that there are affordable, there's first time home buyer lending programs out there. You know, get lined up with a lender, have a conversation with them if you're looking to get into a home for the first time. Just see where your position is. Like, just have that conversation, understand where you stand, because maybe there is a program for you now. I think right now, and in the election cycle we're in, throwing, oh, I'm going to give you $25,000 to buy your first home. I think that's a way to get voters excited to vote for you. But it's also kind of taking the perspective of, well, you know, there's already programs out there right now that could help you, but don't worry about it. Here's the 25,000. I think it's important to kind of understand that this isn't innovative, right? This isn't an innovative approach. There's programs that are out there to help first-time home buyers now. So check those out versus base your whole election decision off of, you know, I'm going to get this money for a home.
Well, yeah, I would take it if they gave it to me.
You
The
know?
last point on this is that the issue that we're talking about is the timing of this. So, for example, if we just had a massive housing crash, so much supply, the value of homes were very cheap, and there were just like too many houses available. This program makes absolute sense for help first-time homeowners gobble
Yes.
up some of this inventory. Not at this time. We're already at the peak of a market, or we're at the high end of a market, and you're going to throw more money at it. That's not going to make things cheaper. That's making that what should be going into more affordable market, you're now keeping it unaffordable for a lot of people. We got it done.
Sweet.